Hi guys, so today's walk is about 10 miles, just over, from the car park on the Snake Pass Road, just past the Snake Inn, or where Snake Inn used to be. I think it's a private residence now. Up over to look at a couple of wrecks. The first one is a Liberator Wreck on Mill Hill, or just past Mill Hill. And then the second is the Sabre Wreck, just off the Kinder Plateau, off the edge of the Northern Rim Path. So I'll just take you through a quick 3D walk through of the walk, and then we'll get stuck into the video. Okay, so we start off at the car park on the Snake Pass Road, which most of you are probably quite familiar with. We come through the Snake Woodlands, and then we take a right onto the Snake Path. We follow that all the way along there, about 3.7 miles of ascent, climbing about 700 foot. Some cracking views over to the left of the Kinder Edge Plateau. You can see them there. Just as you get to this point, you could take a left here, and there are some elements of the wreckage, but I'll put links to that in the description. That's a Sabre Wreck there. When you get to Mill Hill, you turn right, and you go down and drop down the hill to the Liberator Wreck. You then come back up to Mill Hill, up to the edge. It's quite a steep climb there, and then just to follow that path there, the Sabre Wreck's to your left. Then back up onto the edge. We follow the edge all the way along, some great rock formations and the like there, stunning views over to Bleaklow and over towards the edges in the distance, Derwent Edge. Then we get to Fairbrook Naze. We then drop down Fairbrook, which is quite a steep ascent at the start, so a bit almost like a scramble. You are literally dropping, I would say, a good 800 foot at least, over a fairly short distance of about a mile. We then come back through onto the Snake Pass Road. Now there is a path here that runs through the Snake Woodland, but it was all been felled, the trees had, so I ended up walking back up the Snake Pass Road. Not ideal, because it's quite dark when I got back, but I put my head torch on. There was a bit of a verge at the side of the road, and that's what I did. And there you can see the entire route, start to finish. So a really nice circular walk. 16 kilometres, 10.1 miles, 4.5 hours. And 363 metres of ascent. Well worth doing, highly recommended, and not so busy. So that's a route that I've done today, and then now we'll crack on and get onto the walk itself. Right guys, today we're off up to Kinder Scout, to a couple of wrecks, the two Sabres and the Liberator. Last time I did this walk was 37 years ago, with an old mate of mine who passed away recently, so that's the idea of today's walk. Get up and hopefully find the wrecks, find the full wreck. Last time I went we only found one part of it, so that's the plan today. And then to, remember my mate and do a bit of a memorial up at the wreck site. At the moment we're just walking through from the car park into the Snake Woodland. Nice little brook there running down, and then we're heading along down here to the Snake Path, quite a world famous path, up to Mill Hill, across Seal Edge and back down Fairbrook Naze is the plan today. So we'll see how that goes. Weather's not looking too bad, and it's a bit of cloud, so we may come to a bit of that, but yeah, looking forward to this one. I think I might do a few more of these aircraft wrecks. I'll put a link up to the book that I use called what's it called, High Peak Aircraft Crashes. It's got the grid references, directions, history, so I'll do a bit of that when I get to the top. So for now, I'll carry on following this path down to join the Snake Path. I'm glad I put my gaiters on today, because if it's just muddy down here, I'd dread to think what it's like on the top. Can be a bit boggy up there, and I guess the aircraft want to land on a nice path. I think there's one bit just off to the left of the Snake Path, if I remember. I think that's the one that me and my friends, when we were just 18, walked over to. It was obviously a bigger debris site, and also just off Mill Hill is the B24 Liberator crash site as well. So while we're here, we'll get both of those, and for the time being we'll walk along this beautiful little brook. I'll find out what that's called. I bet that'd be midgy hell in summer. The easiest place I've ever lived is Kinloch Leaving on the west coast of Scotland. I think I lasted about 12 months there before we moved, because of all the midges. It was just horrendous in summer. Anytime you could go out as if it was absolutely lashing it down or blowing a hoolie. So anyway, I'll catch up with you when we're on the Snake Path. Quite a long ascent up to the top there along the Snake Path. Not a huge amount of ascent today, about just over 1,000 foot, but it's quite a steady climb to Mill Hill, then across and then down Fairbrook Naze, which is quite steep. So we'll see what that looks like when we get there. And be a nice waterfall there as well. Alright, so catch up with you shortly while I navigate through this quagmire. This could be interesting. If I could ever join the circus, that's for sure. It is lovely, having got quite a good wild camping spot here. If you're allowed to, I mean, no, not technically not allowed to, but as long as you leave no trace and all that sort of thing. Quite nice here, I would have thought. Probably quite popular as well, being just next to the road. But yeah, not too bad a flow. I might take a few pictures here. Catch up with you in a bit. I think we'll avoid that and go through that. We're just going to join the Snake Path down the bottom of this little bit here. Over this little bridge. Oh, that's a bit rickety. Look at that. That's the way you come up here. Quite a variation in scenery, and that's why I love the Dark Peak. My favourite place to be. So, as I just said previously, just clocking down onto the Snake Path. For whatever reason, Outdoor Active's gone to give me the audio description yet. I've not switched that on. It's just being quite annoying, so I'm going to see what I can do to turn that off. I'll catch up with you shortly. So, sorted that out. A little speaker at the top corner of the screen. Always bloody something obvious. So we're up here now on the Snake Path. Going first of all to the Liberator site, and then on Mill Hill, or just past Mill Hill, and then we're going to come along down to the main one, which is the Sabre Wreck. We will see some of that on the way up before we get to Mill Hill. So that happened in, if I correct me if I'm wrong, but I put some information up, 1954. 2 Sabres were flying as part of a formation. I think there were at least 3, and there's various conjecture. The official sort of guideline, I think, is that they failed to hear a radio transmission about elevating to a bit higher, and therefore with the wrong height. Others say that the lead pilot had to pull up quite sharply. It was quite cloudy, so he thought he'd found a clear spot. It wasn't, and he pulled up sharply. The other one had to do the same. They lost sight of each other, and hence a crash. Now, whichever it was, sadly both planes crashed, and pilots died. They weren't found till the next day when a hiker was coming out for the day and spotted something white in the distance. Wonder what it might be, sheep or who knows what, and it was actually a parachute hadn't opened properly of one of the guys. And obviously from that they rescued and retrieved the bodies, etc. No one heard the crash. Apparently a local farmer was out, because it was quite early in the morning, I think. He heard the planes fly over quite low, but didn't hear a crash, hence nobody really did anything till the next day. Very sad, but I'll put a link up to the book. There's a lot of wrecks up here. I can't remember the number now. It's a lot in the Dark Peak and the High Peak. I've been to a few of them in my time. The B29's a famous one, and then also there's one where I used to live near Wild Boar Clough, which again I think was a super fortress wreck. 6 people died there. I play one film, the B29 at the moment. It's just absolute crazy with Instagram and TikTokers up there, because it's so easy to get to. A bit like Mantor really. But these are a bit more off the beaten path. This Sabre Wreck's just off the North Rim path of Kinder Scout. but it should be fairly easy to find. I've got the grid references mapped out, etc, etc. Someone I know on Instagram, he's got a route that does about 5 of them, so I'll find out what that is and maybe do that one day. But for now, this is in memory of a good friend of mine, Paul Jackson, who sadly died last year at 53. So it's a bit of a memorial for him, because we did this route together, and like I said before, we were both 18, so it's retreading the steps of our misspent youth. I think he ended up waiting in the Snake Pass for us, because he injured his ankle and ended up a little bit drunk, if I remember rightly. Anyway, we're heading off up here. I'll probably get you next if I see some good views, or we get to the first bit of wreckage. A bit of a landslip there, or maybe just a boulder field. Lovely brook, not brook. I'll find out what that's called, but lovely sort of stream there. Beautiful. You only do go anywhere apart from the Peak District. Absolutely gorgeous. How clear that water is. Looks like someone's been a while camping here. Just by them rocks. This would be a perfect camping spot, wouldn't it? By that brook there, water, flat surface, cracking. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Bit of an old broken sort of millstone there. Quite a small one, but definitely one. The brook's down there. We're just heading up into this woodland and following the path. So yeah, we'll keep on keeping on into the woods we go. Streams down there to the left. We're heading through this, and then we should be out into open country then. Yeah, I can see it at the end there. There's like a footpath. National Trust sign over there. I'll catch up with you when we get there. I'll see what it says. Here we are. Black Ashop Moor. Keep an eye out for the owls and the other birds. There we go. So that's where the crash is up there. We're following, you can see the path going that way. Keep an eye out for short-eared owls, curlews, skylarks and plovers. And as you'll see everywhere, I've seen banners. No barbecues, no fires. The camping, go on. If you leave no trace, for me, you know, we should all be allowed to camp here, but like they do in Scotland and other places. It's only the rich English land there. Lovely clough there, lovely waterfall, should I say, coming down there. Beautiful. I should take a picture of that. But we're going to head up there now. I'll probably catch up to you, hopefully, when we get to the first bit of wreckage, because I think that's along this path. But as always, I'll probably see something more interesting before then. Looks like they're replanting. It's good, because looking at them, they're native trees. So they're removing a lot of the pines and planting with native trees by the looks of the actual trees and the way they look. So that's really good news. About time we did that. I thought far better for generations to come, even if we don't see it. Always look backwards. Cracking view there, down the Snake Path. Continuing to climb for a little bit of while. We'll play head up there.
towards those rocks eventually, you can see in the distance. So yeah, let's keep going. Just look at that landscape there, the Kinder northern edge there, and up this Black Ashford Moor. There's a bit of a building over there in the distance. I'll look at that when we get closer, like a shepherd's hut or shooting hut or something. But look at that escarpment there. I think I'll have to get the better camera out and do that. Bit of a quick video. There's the little hut, whatever it might be, and the bridge across. Little waterfall here. I say waterfall, just a bit of a clough, I think you call them. Down here, watch that bit. Yeah, glorious, isn't it? Bit of foam on the top there, and that's just natural stuff. Look at that, beautiful. Can't beat the sound of bubbling water. Now we just need to make sure we don't become a cropper in that. And then heading off up there, that might make a good picture actually. So I'll catch up with you when we get to that hut. That's quite cool, isn't it? I'd love to live somewhere like that. It's a bit of a shit again for the adventure up here though. Yeah, the path goes past it. But yeah, remnants of a little shepherd's hut probably, or shooting. But I'll take a close-up picture. You can see that there's like a table, half, and seats in there, and that bridge there. But we're going up there, across that edge. I think the wreck's down the side of that somewhere. So it's whether we can. I think it's a bit further up where it's a bit easier to get down to, hopefully. So I'm going to plan to go along here, along the top, drop down, back up again. So yeah, catch up with you later. You can't get enough of these views. Look at that. Up, heading towards the tops now, around this corner up to Mill Hill. As I was saying earlier, always look behind you. Look at that, absolutely stunning. We're heading up towards Mill Hill, just up to there to the right, and then I think the first bit of wreckage and the wreckage site is just over to the left over there past that gully. So hopefully not much further and we'll be there. Nice steady ascent, that, the Snake Pass. Not really out of breath. I think it's about 1,000 foot of ascent, maybe a bit less, over quite a few miles. So a couple of bits we have to clamber up, but nothing major. So yeah, quite a nice change from the last few walks I've been on. Just love these little brooks. Got another ideal campsite there if you're wild camping. We're heading up here now. They can do all I know and love. Hence why I've got my gaiters on today. And then we're going to be walking on the top of there later. So I'm quite looking forward to get some good views up there, hopefully, over towards Bleaklow. So yeah, catch you with the wreckage for the 15th time. First bog of the day. Test the old scarpers out. Heading up there now. This wreckage is over to the left somewhere. So yeah, start to keep an eye out now. Then my look, I'll miss it. I'll certainly get it on the far side because I've got the good references plotted in exactly. But this one on the left hand side was quite close to the path, so I didn't bother. So let's see how we get on, and I'll catch up with you very shortly. Running as ever. I remember this bog now. I remember rightly on that walk 37 years ago. is where I bedded my first ever pair of scarpers in. I'd saved up, they were about 90 quid at the time, which when you're being paid like, you know, 30-40 pound a week, it's quite a lump sum, isn't it? So yeah, I remember walking through here without nick waxing them first, so all the seams got opened up by the water, and then you'd get home and nick wax them and waterproof them. So something I do very similar today with my boots. So although not so much stitching on these nowadays, they all seem to be glued, but so far so good. Feet are dry. We're heading up here now towards Mill Hill, and then we'll be coming across this skyline here and dropping down Fairbrook Naze, which is just around the corner there, past the waterfall, down onto the Snake Pass Road again, back through the woodland, back to my parking spot. So I've done a few different things today, did a bit of a couple of video shots on the drive, see how that goes out. But luckily we're not in any cloud at the moment. When I first drove up here earlier, it looked like there was a bit of cloud, but I think the mountain weather forecast said a 6% chance of cloud-free summits, and the western side was the side that seemed to be worse, and we're on the sort of northeastern side, so hopefully we're okay. So yeah, cracking up here, just around this corner and that bend I think is where we start to see where the wreck is, hopefully. Hope to God we find it. That was the aim of this walk, so keep watching, see if we do, and then across all of those cool rocks formations at the top there. That's going to be amazing. Classic kind of that. I was almost up to my knees. What a shot over there though. A bit bogger over there again I think. So potential for wet boots. Nearly went wrong there, started going down that left hand side for fuck knows what reason. Quickly got back on the path here. Yeah, thank God I bought my gaiters, I'd have been soaked. They're the top of my boots and everything. Whereas at the moment, touch wood, bone dry. So yeah, conditions here very typical of Kinder Scout. Bog, mud, water, what looks like solid ground really quickly gives way into a mess. So yeah, just take your time, watch where you're putting your feet rather than looking what you're on your camera. And we've got a good pair of boots, should be fine. So the path's up here now. I'm hoping when we get around that corner we'll see the first debris field and head towards the summit at Mill Hill on the Pennine Way. So we meet the Pennine Way, we turn right, go to Mill Hill, might have a drink and a bite to eat there. This week it's going to be mainly sausage rolls, thanks to my brother-in-law. And then yeah, looking for spiders mate. And then we'll head just past Mill Hill on the Pennine Way to the B24 Liberator site, see if we can find that. I've got the grid reference, so we should be fine. And then we'll head back along Seal Edge, find the second debris site of these sabres. And then yeah, all good fun. We're heading up there now. A bit of a boggy bit. I'll catch up with you in a bit. Cool bit of path here, winding its way through the peat hags. Bit drier now, stony underfoot. Assuming it's probably been laid to make pathing, walking the path a bit easier. Steady climb up towards the top there, Mill Hill, and then across the edge. So just check how far around we are actually. Got about 6 miles left, 2.5 hours, it's 2:30, about 5 o'clock, so on plan to get back for 5ish when the sun sets. So yeah, we've done based on about 3 miles of steady ascent. It should be a bit easier going once we've done Mill Hill and cut across the northern edge. Maybe a bit of a bit of a descent down to the wreckage site potentially, which is just off the northern rim path like I said before, but we'll continue to follow this up now and catch up with you later. Here you are, the bleak moors, I love it. We're going up here to the right, over that way to Mill Hill, and coming back up here. So the path's turned to stone now, which is alright, makes a bit of a change from bog, although all is not what seems. But yeah, so we'll just keep following this, catch up when we get to the top. We'll be going up there in a bit. Have a look at that. What a view. I'll find out what those hills are, put them on the video. Goes that way to Edo, this way to Bleak Low. So head up to Mill Hill quickly now, get a bit of a move on because it's going to be a bit tight for time now, and then you can see Mill Hill there. There's just a path over the other side, depending on where it goes to the right, and we'll go to the left down to this wreckage site hopefully. So I wonder if that path there goes to the wreck. You know. Anyway, we'll see where we get on. If nothing else, we'll get some video of it. So, here we are, come up to the top of Mill Hill. People putting little cairnstones up as seems to be the trend these days. Wow, we're going to take this path straight on. Depending on where he goes that way, I think. And yeah, looking over towards Black Hill, Bleak Low's over there as well, Manchester, and yeah, we're up on the North Rim in a bit. Beautiful. Just shows you these things are moving all the time. That path's collapsed there. We're heading down here. In the background you can see Glossop, Bleak Low, higher shelf stones where the B29 Wreck is, and the Pennine Way goes across there. That's Glossop. Manchester in the background, and the Cheshire Gap, and those hills in the very distance. Wales. Sometimes you can see Snowdon. I don't think so, today's a bit cloudy. But we're heading down here to this wreck site. I think it's just over there. So I'll catch up with you when we get there. So, first wreck of the day. This is the B24 Liberator. I will find out some information, get some pictures, just wander through here. Looks like a bit of a, you can get down here I think, into the gully without breaking your neck hopefully. Yeah, okay, so you can see this is the debris side where I'm assuming it came in from that direction. Some landing gear or something there, gearbox maybe, I don't know. I should know. I'm a fucking aerospace engineer. Wing sections and fuselage here. So sad, innit? But like I say, I will find out a bit more history on it. But we found the first one. The grid reference was bang on, fairly simple to find. It was off the path. There are a few up here. Guy just told me there's one of a biplane up here. It's quite hard to find. But yeah, you can see the debris here. These look like fuselage or wing sections, I suspect. That's all that's left. But you can see the impact crater here. Wow. I'll find out how many souls were lost sad it is, but there you go. Lovely views as well. Again, assuming they got the height wrong or maybe had a mechanical failure or something. But yeah, cool. We're going to head back up to Mill Hill now, and then on to Seal Stones, I think it's called, the northern edge there, and then hopefully find these Sabre Wrecks. I did notice a fence, so I'm not sure how close we'll get to it. It must have been unbelievable. People just walking past that wreck, not bloody interested at all. So there's a Liberator down there if you're interested. No, just gawping at a phone. Oh well, all this beauty and history and gawping at a bloody phone, says me on the camera. Anyway, Mill Hill, food, bit of a climb up onto the edge. Then it should be fairly easy going then. Maybe a bit of a drop down to the Sabre Wrecks. Back up. Raven over there. And then we're heading over that way. Might actually have a snap sat up on the edges, eh? That'd be far more interesting. Just going to get a picture here because this is quite a good Pennine Way. Goes off up to the right along the edge to Kinder Downfalls in that gully over there. We're headed over this ridge here. That's bloody steep. We've come off from over there and we're heading up here over to the left. There is a fence, so I'm not sure if I can drop down to the wreck from here. If we can't, I'll see if I can get some close-up videos, and then when the weather's not so wet, you put the crow from the Snake Pass, I think, or possibly across from here. But we'll crack on with the planned route. Wow, following the northern edge now. It's just fenced off down there, so we'll see if we can drop over. Cool rock formations there. That's the Pennine Way. We'll head over this way. I'm going to grab a drink once we drop out the wind a little bit, and then we're going to follow the path across the northern edge over to Fairbrook Naze down there, and then yeah, see how we go from there. See you soon. That's why the fence is up. Keep the sheep off. I'll have a quick wander over the edge, see if I can see the wreck site, and then we'll go from there. So you can see the snake path running through there. That's where we came up. We're headed over here now. The wreck site is showing down here, so I'm just going to have a quick wander, see if I can see it. It's meant to be along this edge, the bottom of this edge somewhere. So I'm going to have a quick look now, and then yeah, if I can spot it and get to it, we will. If I can't, well, you know, so be it. I'll catch up with you shortly. Stunning scenery. It's a bit odd this. I've been to the first two good references just below the edge, so I'm absolutely bang on with where it should be, or at least a debris trail. So far, nothing. So we'll see how we're going to get on along the path. We're on the right, obviously a well-marked path to it here, because the Kinder Edge path's up there. We're going to join it up at those rocks, but no sign of them. Maybe there's a small amount scattered. I'm hoping down here will be the main residue. I mean, the group references are out the bulk. I'm absolutely bang on the line of sight. So hopefully we might see something. I hope so. There's a purpose of coming out here. Well, if nothing else, you know what? You look at that bleak glow in the distance. B24 Wrecks over there on higher shelf stones, just in front of you, just here. Higher shelf stones, B24. You can see all the cars parked up there. Pennine Way runs across over to there, and over the top, bleak glow. So we're going to continue down here. I will at some point stop for something to eat and a drink, because what are we on now? Just gone half 3, so probably running a little bit behind schedule, but I'll be off here by the time it gets dark. That's the main thing. Walking back up to the car park is not so much of a problem. Anyway, I'm going to keep an eye out because I've been to the first 2 grid references. I'm hoping that the last grid reference along here is going to be where the bulk of the wreckage is. I'll catch up with you in a bit. And now I'll put a picture. There's a bit of wreckage definitely there, like a hub. I think that's the one I went to years ago. You can see it's quite a bit off a snake pass across quite a bit of rough terrain. So that's why I didn't find that one. It was a bit closer to the path than it was. But I'll took a picture. I'll zoom in. Should be able to zoom in because I'm using raw files. So I should be able to zoom in on that. But you can see that glinting from here. It's just about there. But I'll zoom in, do that. Ah, here we are. Right, a bit of wreckage here. Not a huge amount, but that is definitely a panel of some description. So we're definitely in the right area now, which I'm relieved about. There's a bit there. I can't see any further up the hill, but that's a piece of it. So I'm relieved in that sense. So I can hear a helicopter in the distance. Yep, helicopter over Bleak Low. But some twats fucking fell over and hurt themselves in the flip-flops. So I'm going to keep a close eye out now, because that's bang on the path. Getting excited now. I'll catch up with you in a bit. I need to just, my battery's a bit low on my normal camera, so I want to conserve that for when I find a bit more wreckage. Hopefully we find more than that. Okay, see you soon. Really close. Over Kinder. Must be searching for somebody, I think. I was hoping they might come over the horizon. Let's just look. But there's a big debris field down there. I took some pictures of it. Oh, there we go. Circling round. Clearly circling. They came over from Bleak Low and went round in a big loop, and they're coming round again. I'll get the other camera. Straight across high sharp stones. Sheep here. Beautiful. Desolate. Up to these rocks. Very quick coffee. Got about an hour and a half left of sunlight. About an hour and 3/4 according to my GPS. So yeah, back on track on the path just up here, and then yeah, try and make a bit of progress. Probably failing light as we sit easy. There you go, the edge. If we go down there, mate, you're fucked. Yeah. So I think we'll be okay. Gonna pick a bit of speed up when we get up on the flat again. Just got to get up here now. Wind's picking up a bit. Rocks. Cool, these rocks, aren't they? Just, you can feel how the wind's weathered them. Manchester over there. Keep well away from that place. What's stunningly beautiful. So, I'll catch you in a bit. Sausage roll, cup of coffee, then gonna move on. So I'm getting down Fairbrook Naze while it's still light. I've just got to keep taking pictures. That is stunning. We're going no wrong here. Absolutely beautiful. And not a soul. I bet I've seen 4 people today. Saw a couple of women who must have been in their 70s doing the Pennine Way all loaded up. Fair play to them. Hey, I can do that at their age. So let's carry on. Should get some really good views from up here later on, so I'll catch up with you in a bit. Cool rocks there, take a picture of that. We're gonna have to get a move on now. Taking too long there when we drink and messaging people and taking pictures. So we need to get a move on, so I probably won't be on as much now. I'll catch up with you when I get to Fairbrook Naze. Wow, there they are, circling round. Coastguard, it says. I've seen they use them when they need help. And that's circling around here. Clearly looking for somebody. It's not me. Anyway, crack on. Such fantastic views here. That Coastguard is either training or they're circling looking for somebody. They've been doing that now for a good half hour. Got a cracking shot of them coming for them rocks, but I know they do use the Coastguard helicopter sometimes if they need it. So whether it's a training exercise or I don't know. Anyway, we're headed off over here now, get a bit more of a pace on, so that we're not descending Fairbrook Naze in the dark, because it's quite a steep ascent and potentially quite slippy. So I need all our faculties about us. We'll have those boys coming for me. Okay, see you shortly. Cool. That was boggy. You can tell. Lovely light over there. See, we've all been burning the peat, the heather, sorry. Glorious. Great day to be alive. The helicopter's disappeared now, so I'm guessing they've either given up or they found what they were looking for or finished the training exercise. Right, look at that. The Kinder Escarpment in all its glory. Fantastic place, and not a soul out here on this northern edge. As opposed to Kinder Low, Kinder Downfall, Jacob's Ladder, Grin Low, they all get very busy, even in this time of year. Up here, not a soul to be seen. Just the way I like it. Look at the sun. Just catching those rocks. Fantastic. Beautiful. Look at that drop. We're going along here. Beautiful. Beautiful. One of the best walks I've been on so far this year, or since I've yeah, well, this year, maybe most of last year, to be honest. The scenery is just out of this world, and yeah, definitely recommend this walk. Only one real big climb from Mill Hill up onto the edge here. It's a bit steep, but the rest of it I would say was fairly moderate going. Just gotta be a bit careful with these rocks and stuff, but not too arduous at all. So paths are well marked. Shame about the wreckage. I found some of it and we got some photos of it, but you know, that's the way life goes. Probably try that in summer when it's a bit drier, because I've been bog fast once in my life. And luckily I was out with my mate at the time, so yeah, don't fancy doing that when you're on your own. So we're going to carry on over here around the corner. I think these are let me just check. See where we are. This is called the edge, this bit here, so it's a northern edge. We're not too far now from Fairbrook Naze, it's just round this corner. Going well, we've got about 3.5 miles to go. So what are we on now? 4:15, so about 5:30ish should be back. It will be still just getting dark then, I think. But, yeah, good fun. Yeah, some of these gullies are just impressive to say the least. Fantastic. We're going along the edge here. Bit of a windy path, so I'm going to turn the camera off because you don't want to go down that fucker. That's for certain. Stunning. This is why you come out, mate. See countryside like that. You don't need to go abroad. You don't need to leave bloody Derbyshire to get stunning scenery. That'll that's as good as anything you'll see in the lakes. Here he comes again. Helicopter. Stunning. That's all you can say, and I keep saying it again. Sun's over there, setting now. So yeah, probably got about 2.5 miles left. I really want to get down up here before it gets dark. So we'll focus on that now. Probably stop when we get to Fairbrook Naze where the falls are. Let's tell you that helicopter. It's been going around about an hour for well over an hour. Getting a bit boggy again in parts, as you can see. But scarpers and gators, not a problem. Here it's in the distance. You can see it just. It's in a big circle of Bleaklow and Kinder. So we'll keep on heading up this path. Can't be long now till we get to these falls and then take a descent, which looks quite steep, to be fair. Where's this going? I think we're going that way, pal. No, we're going to head up here. That was not where we needed to be going. We need to be going up here. Through this quagmire. Best thing to do, keep moving. Yeah, I think that's where we're going over there. And we're going to head down. Wind's picking up. Sun's about an hour away. Setting. So let's keep going. Whew. Got that path, and there's Snake Road down there where we're parked, so we'll be heading back down there. You can see some rocks over there. I think that's where we're going to head, and then we're going to drop down quite sharp. There's a marked path, so hopefully it's not too bad. We'll soon find out. And then yeah, we're back about 5:30ish, I reckon, at the car, somewhere along them lines. But you can see the sun in the distance there, catching high shelf stones, Bleaklow. I think that's Bleaklow stones over there as well. And then you've obviously got the edges over in the distance. I think that's Derwentedge and the like. So some cracking views, and so far been good luck with the weather. That gale that was happening, Otto was it? Oh, ripped my motorbike shelter to bits, that did. That's gone from a sort of armadillo type shelter to a tarpaulin now. Absolutely wrecked all the poles. That's 300 quid down the drain. But hey ho, I think in Castleton the wind funnels down when it's past a bit. I think when it's past, isn't it? Goes back, the original name was something like Windy Gates, I think, apparently. So that makes sense. So yeah, round this corner and then to this falls, Fairbrook Naze, and then we'll drop down. I think I'm repeating myself now. I'll count back in a bit how many times I said Fairbrook Naze today. Must be in double figures now. Anyway, we'll keep pushing on. Keep to the plan. I think that's the path we're going down there. But yeah, oh, that's just amazing. Look at the sunlight over on the edges. Absolutely beautiful. I'm definitely going to do the Kinder Circular this year, I think, because that is just going to be a stunning walk all along here. So that's my aim. I think it's about 18.5 miles. We're going to go over there now and drop down this path. See you shortly. Yeah, just over there I think. Takes us all the way down there to the road. That looks like it could be interesting in parts. But hey ho, let's crack on. Some stunning paths. You're not far off the edge here either. Look, it won't take much for you to end up on your arse. Sun's setting over there. Back on the tops and the wind's picking up. Descent over there, so it's been a bit dark when we get to the bottom, but we'll see. Here we go, there's the fall. This looks a bit interesting, bit of a scramble to start off with. We'll follow this down pretty much to the Snake Pass Road, so it's going to get a bit dark now. I really need to focus my attention. I'll get the odd snap as I go down, hopefully, and see you at the bottom. Yep. Haha. Anyway, I need both hands now for a while. We just follow the switch to the road, like I said, but beautiful spot. Definitely will do this walk again, I think, and the periphery walk. I'll film a bit of it, just so you can see. Where we're going. There's bits of path and then a little bit of a step down the rocks. Stunning though. Stunning. And at the same time a little bit treacherous. Okay, it's quite dry. I can imagine if this was wet. I vaguely remember coming down something like this on that same walk 18 years ago and going flat on our arses on rocks. It's quite painful. One of the lads had to stop at the Snake Inn because he really did sort of damage his coccyx quite bad. But yeah, 18-year-old bravado that was. I'm 55 now. Still an idiot at times, but yeah, I've learned, I hope. So you can see there, path winds its way down. It's a really cool path, this. Gotta say, impressed on getting down it without breaking my ankle as well, because it's a bit rocky in parts, but beautiful. Must be the best walks and one of maybe the better kept secrets of the Kinderscout Plateau, the northern edge. Most people tend to do Jacob's Ladder, Kinder Downfall, like I said before, Kinder Low, Pennine Way. Yet this edge, for me, absolutely stunning. Probably even better. Anyway, keep that to yourselves. Don't put it on YouTube. We've come so far. Starts to get a bit better path down there, I think. The rockiest bits are probably out of the way now, hopefully. That wasn't great on the old knees. So, yeah, not far to go now. Oh, you see these little waterfalls coming down. Cool. Well, it's really dropping now, so let's keep moving. As I always say, look back where you've come from. That was a hell of a descent. I think it gets a bit easier now, so I might have to pick up a bit of a pace and see if I can find a way. At the moment the path takes me up the Snake Pass road a little bit. I had to park a bit further up than I planned to, so I don't really fancy walking up that road. It's starting to get dark, but I think there's a path through the woods on the old Roman road, I think. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Yeah, that's one hell of a descent, that. My missus wouldn't have liked that. Every one of them steps have been like heavy steps for her. She's only 5 foot. But it was a bit leery in places for me, and I'm 6 foot, just under. But yeah, starting to get that golden glow now as the sun's dropping. The kind of escarpment there, and like, as you can see now, a bit more of a normal path. No boulder in the way, but that scramble's done and dusted. I think I'd sooner be going down than up that thing, to be honest with you. that's for sure. Through here, somehow survived in that little nook and cranny, because there's no other trees anywhere else. Fantastic. That's nature at its best. We're going to crack on down there. Cool effect in the clouds there. I think there might be a bit of change in the weather coming. The wind's picking up a bit. Look at the afterglow. Looks even better on the camera. But yeah, it might rain shortly, I think. So we've got about 1.5 miles to go. Let's keep on going. Sun's almost gone down now. I'm pretty much at the road now. So I'll do a wrap up now, because by the time I get back to the older car, I've got a little bit further to go along the road. Quite mundane. So yeah, good walk. Showing about the Sabre Wrecks and that sheep fencing. I got some pictures from a distance. We found a bit of a panel just below the edge there. But a beautiful walk. We got the Liberator Wreck in. So yeah, fantastic walk, and had that walk in memory of my friend Paul, who we used to come out here all the time. So some very fond memories. That's one of the first walks we did together. So yeah, rest in peace, Paul. I hope you're giving him hell up there in heaven for one of the best.